Friends, Romans, fellow travellers, lend me your eyes, the land is bright. The old bars, the old faces, the old days, nearly all gone now. The people are dark, but the land is bright. You come round early morning on a late night sofa, and your pants are surprisingly not round your ankles. There is at least one gentleman still. The land is bright. On inspection, all you have to show for it is the slightly roached business card of an actress you don't remember meeting. The land is bright. Until finally you realise all over again that it's yesterday's survival tactics fuck you up today. The land is bright. You looked for yourself and all you found was other people. You look for other people and you end up with yourself again. The land is bright. When you've done every doable poet on the block, the land is bright. Holy shit! Some rich people wear some bad clothes. The land is bright. You start to resent the tourists not because they're here but because they get to leave, and each new town is nothing but repeats of all the towns they pass through on the way. The land is bright. Today I told the truth and others lied. Today I lied while others spoke the truth. The sun shone, clouds or no clouds, and the land is bright. Today some people took numbers from the world and others took those numbers and made them a different world to better suit their paychecks, and still others showed us all how to live in it as if we wanted to. The land is bright. It's the oldest trick. Don't just sell them a product, sell them a way of life. Don't just sell them a way of life, sell them an identity. They're yours forever, long as you can stop them finding out what I want is not who I am. And when the crunch comes, it's the ones who can afford to take the hit nearly always turn out to be the ones who can also afford not to have to. The land is bright. Listen, history being just another writing exercise, I have one for you. I give you the opening lines, rest of the poem is yours to finish. Use no words you wouldn't use. Say them just how you would say them, and here goes. Welcome to the United Republics of the Atlantic Archipelago, formerly known by some as the British Isles. That was The Land is Bright from this book. James Mackay, not James McKay. The next one I'll read is from this book. I think I've already read from it before, but I just love it so much. This is Lover to Lover by Setara Ebrahimi. You don't know what you mean to people. The tired refrain of who should have done what must be replaced by the figure of an anonymous lover, ready to leap out of shadows, bright red, in full flush, their warm blood whirling through their live body, summoning and endearing you by inch. You there, worthless, impotent, lead-minded you are not, staring at walls even when outside, trembling, humiliated, hands always cold, skin resigning and peeling, mind conspiring. Someone loves you. Someone wants to see you swimming, silver, euphoric, in a clean shoal. Their museum wants every hair, their bank wants every shed tear. Their library will accept any word. Under their pillow, only space for your teeth. Let's cast myself as that person, watching from afar and scrawling poems to find one to fit your face. It would have been a lifetime's work of intricate precision. Everyone should live as if they have an unwavering lover bound by adoration looking on. Instead, he chose this: nothing, death, the worms, the grave. I think the majority of the ones I've chosen are quite depressing. So I think the next one I'll read will be Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. It's a poem that makes you feel as if you might be worth something. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. The next one is The World Seems by Gregory Orr. The world seems so palpable and dense, people and things and the landscapes they inhabit or move through. Words, on the other hand, are so abstract. They're made of empty air, or black scratches on a page that urge us to utter certain sounds. And us, poised in the middle, aware of the objects out there waiting patiently to be named, as if the right words could save them. And don't they deserve it? So much hidden inside each one, such a longing to become the beloved. And inside us, the sounds that could extend that blessing, how they crowd our mouths, how they press up against our lips, which are such a narrow exit for a joy so desperate. The next one is actually by my boyfriend, and he wrote it 10 years ago, but it's still my favourite poem that he's ever written, which is a bit insulting, because he's written a lot of good poems in the last 10 years. So this is Love in the Time of Late Capital. Suicide rates are rising. The government announces a drop in the number of unemployed. A bridge over the train line behind your town would cost 8 million, but the rail company can compensate 10k per victim. The red-haired woman from your daily commute appears in your corner shop. You feel slightly violated. You know this guy from your class has wanted to talk to you for weeks. You don't know why you find it so hard either. You thought Bradbury was an arse, but with your untalking family you sit in the company of a game show host. Looking at your grandmother, you realise you have no idea how she lived just 60 years ago. The 60-second news switches from death in Syria to the progress of the One Direction tour. You told yourself you'd stop buying sweatshop labour, but you've only got £40 to get new clothes. Sometimes you dream of going primitive and forgetting the concept of benefit forms. Your dad worked 10-hour days all his life, and he's too tired now to be your friend. Once you wished your parents were radical. At 28, maybe it's too late to appreciate their strength. At work, you suddenly get sad, so on your lunch break you let yourself cry in the toilet for 45 minutes. Another ad for famine in Somalia comes on the TV as you prepare your speech for the therapist. You realise your problems sound cliché and remote because people have been having them for so long. The newspapers ponder the possible mental illness of the last white spree killer. One day you're sure you'll snap and hug a man on the train, or tell every passing stranger that you love them. The next poem is Autobiography of My Hungers by Eduardo Corral. His beard, an avalanche of honey, an avalanche of thorns. In a bar too close to the Pacific, he said, I don't love you, but not because I couldn't be attracted to you. Liar. Even my soul is pot-bellied. Thinness, in my mind, equals the gay men on the nightly news, kissed by death and public scorn. The anchorman declaring, weight loss is one of the first symptoms. The Portuguese have a word for imaginary, never-to-be-experienced love. Whoop-de-doo. I don't love you, he said. The words flung him back. In his eyes I saw it. To another bar, where a woman sidestepped his desire. Another hunger. Our friendship. In 10th grade, weeks after my first kiss, my mother said, You're looking thinner. That evening I smuggled a cake into my room. I ate it with my hands. Licked buttercream off my thumbs until I puked. Desire with no future, bitter longing. I starve myself by yearning for intimacy that doesn't and won't exist. Holding hands on a ferry, tracing with the tip of my tongue a jawline. In a bar too close to the Pacific, he said, I don't love you, but not because I couldn't be attracted to you. His beard, an avalanche of thorns, an avalanche of honey. I don't know what order any of these are in, they're just coming up. This is a poem about suicide, so if that bothers you, you might want to turn the video off. This is a poem called Reverse Suicide by Matt Rasmussen. The guy Dad sold your car to comes back to get his money, leaves the car. With filthy rags we rub it down until it doesn't shine, and wipe your blood into the seams of the seat. Each snowflake stirs before lifting into the sky as I learn you won't be dead. The unsuffering ends when the mess of your head pulls together around a bullet in your mouth. You spit it into Dad's gun, before arriving in the driveway, while the evening brightens, and we pour bag after bag of leaves on the lawn, waiting for them to leap onto the bare branches. I've tried to read the next poem before and I messed it up every time, so I'll try my best. But this is Spring Rain by Dean Young. Thank you, whoever turned the radio to rain. Thank you, who spilled the strong-willed wine, for not being me, so I'm not to blame. I'm glad I'm not that broken tree, although it looks sublime. And glad I'm not taking a test and running out of time. What's a tetrahedron, anyway? What's the sublime? 3,483 divided by 9, the 10th Amendment, the ferryman's name on the river Styx. We're all missing more and more tricks, losing our grips, guilty of crimes we didn't commit. The horse rears and races, then moves no more. The sports coupe grinds to a stop, beginning a new life as rot, beaten to shit. Whitman grass stain, consciousness swamp gas, the bones and brain, protoplasm and liver, ground down like stones in a river. Or does the heart cinder wash up as delta froth, out of which hops frog spawn, dog song, the next rhyme and grind, next kid literati? Maybe the world's just a bubble, all philosophy ants in a muddle, an engine inside an elk's skull on a pole. Maybe an angel's long overdue and we're all in trouble. Meanwhile, thanks, whoever, for the dial turned to green downpour. Thanks for feathery conniptions at the seashore and moth-minded, match-flash breath. Thank you for whatever's left. I made one mistake, and I hope it wasn't very obvious. The next poem is Post-Mortem by Sridhara Swami. The brain in its jar floats and dreams, streams of memory, consciousness preserved. The two halves, like breasts, grieve for the softness of skin, for the reserved whisper of touch. All this has already happened and will never happen again. The brain curls itself up, hits glass, ricochets and remembers. Fetal, an echo of shape, a pearl of desire. His body holding the other one that burnt away and became ember. There should be a question here, a how or a why, a way to understand linearities. Instead there are ridges and convolutions, the repetition of blood beating, the raising of hair along an arm when a finger follows vertebrae down the spine. Brain, body, umbilicus. Our bodies stretch within and without to accommodate life. But without you, without you, without you, I am only a dissonance, an object to drift, a wretched longing for the pain of being alive. The next one is about death, but I find it quite funny, and I'm not sure that you're supposed to find it funny. This is Obituary Generator by Mariah Bosch. Blank died alone, and in the morning, surrounded by strangers who catalogued every blemish. Family arrived to confirm the location of each freckle. She was born in blank and died nearby. She is survived by blank, and they've already begun forgetting whether they know or not. She never wore collared shirts, because they reminded her of her head's attachment to her body. Blank died in the afternoon, but did not live comfortably past the morning. Their family did not know them, and neither do I. Blank died in his 2-car garage next to one car. Blank liked his cars and his garage very much. He is survived by 2 cars nestled still in their garage. They cannot visit his grave. Blank died alone. He had brown eyes that needed glasses. He was born on a farm and dreamt of it. He wore t-shirts ordered from Facebook, generated by an algorithm, and printed at an office, and shorts covered in pockets to fill with peppermint patties for their blank. Blank drank chocolate Pedialyte as his only nutrient, but constantly craved purple grape juice in the end. I think I only have a couple left. The next one is A Gift by Catherine Starbuck. Who is that creature, and who does he want? Me, I trust. I do not attempt to call out his name for fear he will tread on me. What do you believe, he asks. That we all want to be alone, I reply, except when we do not. That the world was open to my sorrow and ate most of it. That today is a gift, and I am ready to receive you. The next one's a bit happier. It's Missed Time by Ha Jin. My notebook has remained blank for months, thanks to the light you shower around me. I have no use for my pen, which lies languorously without grief. Nothing is better than to live a storyless life that needs no writing for meaning. When I am gone, let others say they lost a happy man, though no one can tell how happy I was. I have one more, which is from this book, which is about true crime and how we're obsessed with sort of reading and listening to things that give us all the gory details of horrible things that happen to women. So, yeah. I think I've actually lost the poem that I wanted to read. Hang on. Okay. So this is Addendum 2 to No Baptism by Olivia Goward. I should also mention that I don't know if his hands ever touched me, though they did. This distorted fact might also be a reason I leave out the ending. Another rule to good storytelling is that no one wants a half-remembered tragedy. You must know the width of the knife and how it ruined you. Name the organs it kissed. Maybe he touched me, maybe again. Maybe that is why for years I wrapped my mouth around anything that would fill it. Is not beautiful. It is a bouquet of the bitter and half-bloomed. Sometimes the writer in me wants to remember just so I can give you a story. Sometimes I think the memory will appear in my doorway, first a shadow, then a man stepping into the light. Memory, too, lives in my body, not my brain. I think that's all of the ones I had. Thanks for listening.